it gives you. Can you imagine reading 10,000 lines in 1 second, right? Which is what it does. So that really changes everything. But in order to embrace this change, you do have to be not scared to say, okay, your job's going to change. But it's okay. Because like yesterday, my data scientist said, you know, all the data, we have a lot of data scientists who are doing processes and process improvements and trying to figure out with the use of data science and data analytics, how they could do it. But they said, you know, the AI can do it now. So I'm like, okay, so what are you going to do, right? Do you remember when like 5 years ago, we didn't have enough coders? Now coding is ubiquitous. Then we didn't have enough data scientists, but now the AI can also do the data science for you, right? So what are you going to do next, right? And they said, well, I'm going to now move on to the customer interaction side. I'm going to try and see what new, I will come up with new use cases for the model to test and learn, right? So now they're ideating, which is great. So I think the workforce that we operate now needs to be agile. And I always say hire for attitude, don't hire for knowledge. Knowledge is ubiquitous, attitude's not. Hire for attitude. And make it safe for people to change roles, to change jobs, to try new things, because otherwise you're going to be stuck in the past.
Yeah. All this sounds very interesting, and I kind of go back to the comment that David made earlier about your statement about trying to make, your ambition is to make DBS the best bank with a heart.
The AI-enabled bank with a heart.
Sorry, AI-enabled bank with a heart. And the main debate that's going in the banking sector, and you talked about job changes, but what about job losses? Do you see AI resulting in big redundancies?
You know, as with any big technological revolution, there will be like a bubble, right? Everyone will be rushing a bit of a gold rush into this new fangled thing, and then the valuations will go up. And then there will also be the fear of job losses. And inevitably, that sort of the bubble crashes or the bubble corrects, and the anticipated massive job losses didn't really happen. I mean, it would, of course, jobs will change, right? You know, horse can't, you know, you learn to drive a car, right? And now the car is self-driving, then you learn to do something else, right? You do something in the car. So I do believe in the flex. The human race has survived only because we know how to stay agile, and we've, you know, we've evolved. So I do believe in the ability of the human race to evolve. But I think it behoves governments and business leaders to work together to make this evolution less problematic, if you will, especially for young graduates who are looking for white-collar jobs, right? That entry level, I think, could be potentially at risk the most, because most companies still want, you know, you still want, in Hokkien we say lao jiao, right? You still want the experienced people with judgment. You want the guys or girls who've gone through stresses and can make good judgment calls. But are you going to, if you used to hire 100 analysts to do all the analytics work, you don't need 100 analysts today, right? So what are you going to do with the 100 kids you used to hire? Yeah. And so that's the point. And I do think society will do well to work with governments and create that sort of help, if you will, for these young kids who are graduating. Like, you know, during COVID, we took in, was it 200? I can't remember. We didn't need to hire so many fresh graduates, but we did here in Singapore and elsewhere. But there was some government help. Only because I think you give them experience that money can't buy. Yeah. It helps their CV. Then after 2 years, when the economy picks up, they can go get another job. They can join my competitors, doesn't matter. But the fact is, then you've given them a leg up, right? And that's what they need. They need that leg up. Yeah. So I do think, for the sake of society, that we should work together to see how we give these young kids a leg up.
Right. As the CEO of the bank, which is in kind of middle of all these changes, how much time do you spend to learn AI or kind of use AI in your daily workflow? I believe you are spending some time to learn about gaming these days. Do your kids tell you you're spending a lot of time on games?
Oh, that's only because I was trying to win back the teenagers that we lost. Okay, it's a long story, but before we joined, we have this, in Singapore, we have this baby account. We used to have every baby. Then for like from 2010 to 2015, we lost those 5 years of babies being born to a competitor bank. And those babies are now, between 15, right, 10, 15 years old. So they're teenagers, and like, I need to win them back. And in order to win them back, you got to go into their world. Right. But actually, I learned this from Korea. You know, I was in Seoul. I went to see all the great tech companies in Seoul, including Naver, including the woman who was behind Netflix. What's the Netflix movie? Parasite. And also Naver, and also the K-pop Demon Hunter or something. And Hybe, they do the K-pop. Right. I wanted to ask them, because they didn't look that young. They looked like my age. So I'm like, how do you stay so current, and how do you stay ahead of the trends? They all said, look at the teenagers. You just have to look at teenagers and what they like, what they're doing. Then you'll be ahead of the trend. I'm like, oh, okay. So I came back and told my team, hey, what are the teenagers doing? They said they're playing this game, that game. So we tied up with Garena, another great, a great Singaporean company called C. And we did a thing with that game in Taiwan. I think in day one, we got like 50,000 new card users. So I can't remember the figure, 40 or 50,000. But the fact was, my God, if you say your reward points can be exchanged for weapons, wow, that really works for the gaming population, right? And so, I learn more by doing. I'm a terrible gamer, so don't ask me to play any games. But I learned from looking at all these kids and asking, people who do this business. I'm very curious, so I love to learn from all these business leaders or young MAs, young talent in DBS. So how do you keep current? Look at the young. Surround yourself with what I call my reverse mentors. I have a lot of young mentees who actually mentor me and tell me off for my terrible social media non-presence. I don't have any TikTok account except all the hacking ones, the scammer ones that are not me. So if you see me on TikTok, it's deep fake.
I'm sure there are fake Piyush Gupta accounts as well.
And now to
yes. I know we are running out of time, so we'll take a couple of questions from the audience. But before that, just one last question from me. One thing I've noticed that you come up with very interesting acronyms. So for you, DBS is the D stands for digital, dependable, and diversifier. So let me start a quick question on digital part of it. You were one of the first banks to launch crypto custody business in Asia 3-4 years ago. And then yesterday there was an announcement that Franklin Templeton to launch Singapore's first tokenized retail fund. How do you see digital asset business becoming a meaningful source of revenue generator for you going ahead?
So this comes from a philosophy of understanding what banks do. Banks intermediate people's money. They take your deposits, your hard-earned deposits, and we lend it out. We give you payment services. You can transfer money. You can pay for services and goods. And that's sort of the baseline bread and butter banking business. We also take our customers' funds and we help them to invest it, invest in wealth management products, public, private markets, public equities, public bonds, funds, private markets, private equity, private debt. And then as the digital ecosystem evolved, if you want to stay in that business of being a trusted financial intermediary, you need to be able to also help them to get into the digital asset ecosystem. And that sits in the blockchain. It can be a public blockchain, it can be a private permissioned blockchain, but it is a tokenized asset. Right. Agreed? So if your customers, if you want to stay as your trusted partner to your customer, then if they're going into tokenized world, you should, be that trusted custodian of their tokenized assets. Agreed? Because if you think about it, if you're going to put all your assets onto the blockchain, are you going to remember all your keys? Are you going to lose your password? You are, right?
The gateways for the scammers.
I mean, yeah. So we only did the custody because many years ago, one big sovereign wealth fund, the lady boss gave everybody a Bitcoin. It was, I think, an experiment. It was $40 then. Then she wanted to see what they did with it. That's the story, anyway. But I remember getting a lot of calls many months after, I mean, like a year or two later. I think Bitcoin went up to 10 or 20,000 and they all forgot their password, their crypto key. Oh, that was when we had an aha moment. We were like, oh, you know, there is a use case for creating a strong custody for digital assets. And it has to be strong. Because when you have assets in the blockchain, and I learned about this today. This is when you have young people working for you. They tell you, do you know about the dust? See, I didn't know about what the heck was dust. But if you have assets in the blockchain, you are constantly going to have dust. It's like having your mailbox, and your mailbox has to be open, right? Your physical, and people stuff flyers in. You can't stop it. It just comes in. So you get dust in, and the dust are people fishing for your ID, right? And they're scammers. They're going to try and steal your coins, right? So you have to be so strong in your custody, right? So we have the cold wallet, we have an air gap, we have the hot wallet, and then again, like my young people are telling me, it's like you're in a submarine and you're surfacing 4 or 5 times a day. When you surface, the dust will come. You emerge, then you get out, and then the dust goes away. So they can't find you. So it's so complex, this, but you have to make sure you have a great, safe custody. Right. So for me, dependable bank, yes. D, I have to invest in great, safe custody. So we did it. After we did it, the customers who customized with us said, you know, I maybe want to trade on and off ramp with someone I trust, and I maybe don't want to go to FTX or whatever. Some of these exchanges were going bust. So they said, why don't you create a digital exchange and I can go on and off ramp with you. So we're like, oh, okay. So we got regulatory approval, created a digital exchange. And then we thought we should actually learn to originate as well. So we learn best by doing, as I said. So we learn to originate, we learn to trade, we learn to do payments, we learn to do repo. And then we met Jenny Johnson, a couple of years ago. We started to whiteboard with her and her team. She's also really frontier. And so we figured that, you know, I said, Jenny, customers who are going to hold cash on the blockchain deserve to get yield. It's not fair that they're giving their yield away to the stablecoin issuers. So she said, okay, let's do this. So she has a money market fund. We tokenized it. It's on our exchange.
Right. Amazing. I know we are running out of time, but we have time for just a couple of questions from the audience. If you could raise your hand, identify yourself, and ask your brief question. Sure, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Su Shan. I have a question around financial literacy. You talked a little bit about teenagers, but my teenage daughter recently left home, went away to university, and it dawned upon me that we'd failed to educate her about financial literacy. How well is DBS doing in that space? And do you think in Singapore we should be doing more regionally to help people get financially literate?
100%. When I used to run the consumer bank, that included POSB, we used to reach out to all the community centers. We had to bribe them with food. So we'll serve dinner, and then people will come. And it was really basic, like don't don't spend too much on your credit card because your interest rates will snowball. To, you know, there's CPF, there's SA, there's OA, there's RA, there's MediFund, there's MediSafe, there's, I mean, all the conundrum of the alphabet soup of products, right? So the answer is yes. And we need to make it simple. The kids are all on Robinhood, Futu. Your daughter will probably open a Tiger or Broker or Futu or one of these, you know, things, because they all share on TikTok, right? So they will know about buying Bitcoin or And in fact, you know why? One of the reasons why we got into the digital asset ecosystem was one Christmas, I looked at all the Visa payments of the kids, and you know, I was looking at how the young kids spend, and they were all buying Bitcoin on their parents or their supplementary cards using Visa or MasterCard or whatever. That was when I had an aha moment. So yes, absolutely, they should. What are we doing? So this is a big passion of mine too. So we're trying to bring, I think wealth is democratized. Wealth management should be democratized. It should go out to absolutely the youngest or not so rich person, absolutely. So whatever we've built for priority and private banking, we have brought it down to the masses. So, but you know, we can't afford one RM for every client, but we digitize the whole thing. So we have like Kiasu portfolios, right? This is the scared to lose portfolio, money market funds and bonds and what have you, and REITs maybe. Then we've got the higher medium risk and high risk, you know. So it's like save, invest, sleep, repeat, save, invest, sleep, repeat, kind of, you know, a regular savings plan. And we make it really simple. So every month when you get paid, you put a little bit away every month, same thing. So that snowballs, right? So nothing like that. I mean, what I like to think as compounding, the power of compounding when you're young, when your daughter's now, what, 18? Can you imagine if she compounds every month a little bit of her savings? By the time she gets to 30, she would have saved enough, right?
Thank you. I'm afraid we have to wrap it up here, otherwise Tim will kill me. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks,
it was a
Avid.
great conversation.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, ladies and
Thank
gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you, Sumit. Thank you, Su Shan. I have a teenage daughter who I will be making watch this conversation later on to learn some lessons. Thank you to everybody who's here with us in Singapore. You are very welcome to join us for a drinks reception here at Elsing. Thank you.